Now, the nun that taught me that was, you think a man made those rules? A monk can quit and return 7 times. Like if his family, his family got ill and he had to go quit for a while to take care of them, okay, and then he can return when they're well. A nun can only quit 1 time. You think a man made those rules? That was what a female nun told me. All right. Now then, most of the extra rules, though, that they make for nuns, as extra vows, is simply for the nun's protection. Okay. But we can call Buddha the first women's liberator. He was the first religious leader of his time that allowed women to serve as nuns. Until that time, they're all male. If you go to Thailand, the Thailand Buddhists there only have monks, no women nuns. So Buddha wanted women to be part of the temple himself. So now we're going to go down this way. I'll see if we can get in. There's room for us to get inside and sit down. Follow me.
So welcome to the main hall of the Hsi Lai Monastery. Usually we call it Da Wun Hall, which is the hall of great honor. And usually the main the statue is the Shakyamuni Buddha, it's Gautama Stata. Okay, then we have the Buddha, or sometimes the Bodhisattva, side to side. This main hall is actually very, very large compared to many of the Buddhist hall, even in China or Korea. It's just so big, and I think it's a Fogang-san in Taiwan, even larger, I think, in Taiwan, even larger size. But anyway, I wasn't here at when is back in 88 or 89, the one of the inauguration. Yeah, I was invited. 88. Yeah, 88.
88, yes.
I have the memory at that day. There was a 10 o'clock in the morning. We have so many people demonstrate in front of temple.
You have good memory. Yes.
Yeah. They have hundreds of Protestant Chinese people together in front of the temple, demonstrate for almost several months, continuously. So, I felt it something very odd because, what is a religion for? It's a peace, it's love, and avoid something hatred or anger. But that moment, I have some very mixed feeling about we need some interfaith council in Los Angeles area. But the good thing is Dr. Greenberg worked very hard on such the interfaith dialogue and the interfaith a lot of different movement, and I really deeply appreciate Dr. Greenberg worked very hard to make a wonderful dialogue between Buddhism and Christian or some other religion. Thank you so much about this, and I thank you so much bringing your student at this wonderful Buddhist monastery. The Hsi Lai Temple is the largest Buddhist monastery in here, U.S. There were some the other Buddhist temple too, but it's not like this size. Several years ago, I went to the exchange faculty of this monastery. So I stayed in Taiwan to teach the Avatamsaka Sutra. So somehow I have a good connection with this monastery for a long, long time. Okay. As you know, the middle is Gautama Siddhartha, the founder of Buddhism. Okay. BC 624 is where he born. Then he died age of 80. Which is the BC 523, 24?
24.
Yeah.
There's an argument about that. Yeah.
Well, we have one standard. It's some kind of argument, but 1956 or 57 in the Kathmandu, they tried to make it 1 BE, the Buddhist era. So, therefore, his birth time, BC 624. He died the BC 523. the age of 80. Still, we have a lot of argument over this number because BC 600, nobody really used any of the written literature, so we don't have that. So everything just like the mouse to mouse, my fairy tale kind of story they try to put together. But just like any other ancient teacher, we really don't know when exactly the Gautama started was born, but approximately 600 BC. Okay, all right. I would like to show you what is the Buddhist prostration. We do a lot of prostration, okay? Especially when we offer something from your wishes, then we do a lot of prostration. And the Buddhist prostration, we're very similar in the Islam prostration, okay? So maybe I can show you, and whoever like to do, and I might as well. Anybody just step inside and give some your prostration to the respect. Okay?
What is this?
Huh?
What is this?
Oh, this is what we call the casa. Okay. So I have to wear this as a Buddhist monk. The first, you have your palm together, you half bow, okay? The second, you have to kneel down, and in between your palm, touch your forehead, okay? Get up, and together. Okay. Does anybody want to hedge him? You want to try? To the prostration, to the Buddha? This is a proper respect to the Buddha Dharma, okay? So who wants to try the prostration? Dr. Rupert, go ahead.
I remember us doing a little something like this in
Yeah.
Kungong Chungsan,
Okay, yeah, sure, you have experience, yeah.
but that 20 years ago.
Okay.
Should I take my shoes off?
Oh, of course not, no, go ahead. Thank you so much. As you know, the Dr. Greenberg is practice. It's not Buddhism. I think he's Jewish, right? But nevertheless, we have a wonderful respect for Buddha Dharma, and I really thanks for that. Okay, this is what we call the interface. This is ecumenical work is all about. Okay, it's just we're gonna visit the Buddhist temple to try to learn something from the Buddha teaching, and we have to understand each other. It's very important. That's why we visit here to exchange all the what you know and what you want to know, and also you can give your word to the people living in this temple.
Okay, I'd like to tell you about what we got here. We're going to talk about the whole temple for just a minute or two. Number one, this is known as the Hall of Heroes. All Buddhist temples are known as the Hall of Heroes. And in our case, it's the three Buddhas you see in the back. Okay. Also, it's known as the Hall of 10,000 Buddhas. And when you look around, it's very obvious why. There's over 10,000 Buddhas in this room. Okay. In fact, there's 11,621. I counted them last week. How many believe that? Good boy. He's the only one. Notice he counted them with me. Okay.
We are partners, right?
Yes. Now then, the floor you're walking on is marble from Italy. We wanted to keep it as close as we could to the temples in China. The chandeliers are from Japan. The artwork is from China. The things behind the altar, the vases and things are from China, and the rest of it's from good old USA. Okay. Now what do we do here? Number one, we have every Sunday morning from 10:30 till 12:30, we have chanting services here. You got to witness part of one today. These are people that you saw walking by. They're doing what we call taking the 8 precepts. The 8 precepts include what we call the 5 precepts, which is, we have 5 precepts in Buddhism. Christianity has 10 commandments. Ours aren't no killing, no stealing, no lying, no misuse of sex, and no intoxicants. Now, we used to say no alcohol. But now with the new designer drugs, we have to say no intoxicants. And why? That's because using intoxicants makes you break the other 4 precepts. People lie, kill, steal under the influence of drugs. Now then, we also have the chanting service. We celebrate Buddha's birthday here. We celebrate it here by having a meal. Only time in the year we eat in the temple. We also celebrate Chinese New Year here with entertainment, drums, dancers. Yes?
Sorry, when was the only time that you ate in the temple?
Beg your pardon?
When was the only time you ate in the temple?
The only time we have food in the temple, eat in the temple, is Buddha's birthday. Okay? We also have, once each year, we have a service here, which we invite all the Christian leaders in Los Angeles County for a day of prayer for peace. Even Sheriff Baca comes to that. So that's some of the things we do here in the temple. Now then, the 3 Buddhas you see up there, the one in the middle, Sakyamuni Buddha, is the one whose teachings we follow. Okay? Now then, he was born a little over 2,500 years ago in India. The city he was born in, though, is now part of Nepal. His father was a ruler, and his father wanted him to grow up and take his place. So he thought, the best way I can do that is I can keep him in the palace all his life, give him everything he could possibly want, every pleasure, everything, and when he's old, he won't want to leave. Well, at age 29, he had never seen the outside world. So he talked his chariot driver into taking me out and showing me the outside world. They sneaked past the guards at the palace gates. Buddha saw 3 things that really, really upset him. First thing he saw was an old man. Next thing he saw, he had never seen an old man. He'd been protected. He saw a man laying beside the road sick. He'd never seen a sick person before. They passed a funeral procession, and he had never seen a dead person. So he asked his chariot driver, do we all get old? Do we all get sick? Do we all die? He said, yes, we do. He said, well, tell me, what do they do for food? They have to work hard. Well, when he saw how bad their lives was, he decided to leave the palace and go into the world and see if he could find a way to get them out of their problems. He spent the next 47 years as a teacher. After about 42 of the years, he decided he was getting nowhere. He hadn't even gotten enlightened. So one day he sat down beneath the tree and says, I'm going to sit here till I become enlightened. He did that, and with that, he spent the next 42 years as a teacher. And one of the things that the Buddha gave to us, he gave us 8 really good, positive ways to lead our lives. Okay, we call them the Eightfold Path. One of them is right understanding what life is really all about, not what someone told us. Number 2 is right action, doing good things in words, thoughts, and deeds. Right concentration, having a form of meditation where we relieve our stress and learn to use our minds. Right occupation, not having a job that harms people like selling firearms or selling alcohol. And right compassion, caring about our fellow men. Just good, positive ways to live your life. There's a story that's told about the time of Buddha. An old Buddhist monk lived in a tree in the forest. And the king wanted to see him and talk to him. So he searched for him and found him, and he asked him, what did the Buddha teach? And the old monk said, that's easy. He said, the Buddha taught, avoid doing evil, do only good, and purify your heart. The king said, that's so easy. He says, a 5-year-old can understand that. He said, yes, but a 50-year-old can't do it. What we want to do in our lives is to avoid doing evil, do only good, and purify our heart. Now in Chinese, the word for your heart and the word for your mind, the same word. It's even the same Chinese symbol. So we talk about purifying our heart, we're talking about purifying our mind. Now, the Buddha on the right. The Buddha on the right is named Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha is the Buddha of the Western Pure Land. Now the temple here are Pure Landers, we call ourselves. The temple teaches that when we leave this life, through our vows and through our pledges and through our chanting, we can go into what we call the Pure Land. There, all we do is everything's provided. We simply study the truth until we become an enlightened being also. Now, the Buddha on this end. Buddha on this end, I don't use his name because it's about 32 letters long. Okay? We simply call him, even on our bulletin board outside, we refer to him as Medicine Buddha. Medicine Buddha taught us how to help with our health. He taught the same thing 2,500 years ago that the doctor teaches me today. Some of the three things he taught was right diet, right exercise, and a form of concentration where you learn to ease your stress and control your stress. And he says if we do that, we'll live longer, happier lives and healthier lives. And one last thing. At the other end of the altar up there, you see a big wooden fish, we're called. It's sitting on a little table. It's made out of wood and it's hollow. So you hit it with a mallet, it goes clunk, clunk, clunk. It's used in chanting for timing, fast or slow. Also, a fish has a special importance to Buddhism. A fish has no eyelids, so a fish can never close his eyes. Even when the fish is resting, his eyes are open. Okay? We want to be the same way. We want to be mindful. Being mindful, we teach is knowing what you're doing and paying attention to your life, keeping our eyes open. And that tells you about the temple and a little bit about what the Buddha taught.
And also the Venerable Miaoxi Shi for her kindness in authorizing us to film this episode on the grounds of the temple, and especially for allowing us to film the interior of the shrines while the students were taking their tour of the temple. I'd also like to thank the Venerable Man Ching, tour coordinator, and Don Bryan, our excellent and charming tour guide. While the credits are rolling, I hope you enjoy the various images of statuaries that reside at the temple. As part of an upcoming bonus episode, we'll be going into more detail about these statues and images around the temple. Stay tuned for this exciting additional footage, which includes an exclusive interview with Don Bryan himself, in which he talks about his upbringing and his change of religious beliefs. I look forward to your company next time on the Institute's Religion Matters show.
Mani Padme Hum.